I constantly feel responsible for my partner's emotions and well-being, even when it's not my fault. What can I do about this? Through salty tears that found their way down my cheeks, I shared my heartache. I find myself entangled in emotions that don't belong to me. Every breeze of turbulence that stirs within my partner, whether it's my doing or otherwise, falls on me. I'm chained to the reverberating echo of their emotions, a prisoner of my partner's emotional world. Is this my cross to bear, even when undeserved? Do I deserve freedom? I find it difficult to express my own needs and desires because I fear upsetting or angering my partner. How do I overcome this fear? Grunting with the weight of my unvoiced desires, I confessed, it feels as if I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, endlessly echoing with my partner's anger and discontent. Ensuing chaos overpowers my feeble voice, silencing my desires and needs. Fear seizes me by the throat, leaving my wants unuttered, choked within me. The storm of their temper seems ever ready to be unleashed, so I learn to dance around their dark moods, their anger and impulsive reactions. But how long should I keep up this facade? When do I get a chance to own the stage? I often put my partner's needs and wants above my own, sacrificing my own happiness in the process. How can I reclaim my own happiness? I admitted my pain, saying, my happiness seems like a distant star, fading in the glory of my partner's endless needs. I feel like my oxygen mask is removed every time they gasp for air. I find myself unraveled, sacrifice after sacrifice. Their needs shadow my own, hiding them in the depths of oblivion. My joy, my happiness, when do they merit the foreground? I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, always trying to avoid triggering my partner's anger or criticism. Where is the hope for change? Choking on suppressed sentiments, I confessed. Our love story feels like I am perpetually walking barefoot on a path strewn with eggshells. I am incarcerated within the volatile walls of my partner's unpredictable wrath and criticism. Every word, every action could potentially shatter the brittle peace. But isn't love supposed to feel like safe harbor rather than a minefield? I have a hard time setting boundaries with my partner and often find myself feeling overwhelmed and drained. How can I establish healthy boundaries? With my voice trembling, I shared my struggle. I feel caught in a whirlwind, always in the eye of my partner's demands and desires. There seem to be no boundaries, no lines drawn in the sand, and my essence is being worn down. I'm left feeling like a spent candle, all wax and no flame. But isn't love meant to respect personal boundaries? I frequently doubt myself and my abilities due to the constant criticism and belittling from my partner. Can I learn to have faith in myself again? From the somber corners of my heart, I unveiled my fear. My partner's words are like a fierce storm ruthlessly battering my confidence, maiming my belief in my abilities. Their many tendrils of criticism claw at my self-esteem, leaving me marred with a haunting doubt. Each echo of their damaging words is a painful prick, a constant reminder of my supposed inadequacy, but is it truly so? I constantly seek validation and approval from my partner, often seeking their permission before making decisions. How do I break free from this circle? Laden with distress, I spoke of my incessant pursuit. I find myself caught in this relentless cycle. I long for my partner's approval, like the parched earth longs for rain. Validation has become my lifeline, and without it, I feel like a ship drifting aimlessly in the stormy ocean of my partner's criticism. Do I warrant their permission to breathe, to exist in our shared spaces? I have lost touch with my own identity and interests because I have been so focused on meeting my partner's needs. How do I regain myself? In a voice barely audible, I revealed my profound realization. It's as if I'm living someone else's life. My partner's needs have overshadowed my selfhood, leaving my identity blurred and distorted. My passions, dreams, desires, hobbies, they feel like distant memories relegated to the background like an old, forgotten symphony. But when do I get to write my own music? I often feel guilty or ashamed when I prioritize my own well-being or engage in self-care activities. How can I overcome such guilt? Drenched with regret, I spoke of my guilt-ridden moments of self-care. I am perpetually carrying this burden of guilt that consumes me whenever I try to gather a few precious moments for myself. In my heart, it feels as though my well-being is a crime against my partner's desires. How has self-love become synonymous with selfishness in this perplexing equation of our relationship? I frequently find myself making excuses for my partner's behavior to protect their image and avoid conflict. How can I bring forward the truth without fear? Aching with concealed truths, I confessed, I see myself creating a shield of excuses, constantly defending their erratic behaviors, layering their actions with justifications to avoid conflict and maintain a facade of bliss. Yet every fresh excuse feels like a knife slicing through my dignity. Isn't our relationship meant to be an epiphany of truth rather than a bed of lies? I have become isolated from friends and family because my partner manipulates me into prioritizing them over others. How can I reestablish my connections? Torn by an unsettling isolation, I unwrapped my desolation. I find myself entangled in a web of my partner's manipulations, pushing me to sideline everyone else in my life. The world outside our bond feels like a dream from another lifetime, blurry around the edges, but should love be a binding chain that isolates, rather than a bridge that connects? I struggle with low self-esteem and constantly seek external validation to feel worthy and lovable. How can I regain my self-esteem? Insomnia's quiet friend, I revealed. Inside me lurks a monster, feeding on my confidence, spitting out a fearful, unsure version of me. My partner's critical gaze has planted a seed of doubt that's grown into an immense tree, blighting my self-esteem. I'm lost in the jungle of their impossible standards and my own undermining doubts. But when will I be enough? I have a tendency to take on responsibility for my partner's mistakes or failures, even when it's not justified. Can I put down this burden? Drowning in guilt, I confessed, I'm shackled by accountability that isn't mine to bear. Each stumble of my partner's feels like a load on my back, each error a slap of failure. Their missteps imprint on me, dictating my worth, but how justifiable is it for me to be crushed under the weight they should bear? I feel anxious and on edge. When my partner becomes angry or upset, fearing the consequences, how do I navigate my way through this? Tensing with palpable anxiety, I let sorrow seep into my words. My world flips with every surge of my partner's anger. Their wrath abruptly turns my tranquil spaces into a battlefield. At the sight of their oncoming rage, my serenity seems to shatter like fragile glass. I stand then on the edge of their temper, anxious, bracing myself for the impact. Is walking on such a sword's edge my only destiny?